Right then, redemption. Hardcore Minecraft has become my nemesis. After finally achieving 100 days, I died during the recording of 200 days. Completely my own fault. And after a few more failed attempts, I decided I was going to do it bigger and better. So welcome to day number 1. I will be doing this video slightly different to the first 100 days. I won't be going over every day, just mainly the important events throughout the 100 days. And by the end, I want to do something I didn't get to do in my original playthrough, and that's face the Ender Dragon. And as you can see, I started off pretty lucky, finding a broken nether portal and a village right next to it, even scoring myself some books, already planning for the future. I crafted myself the essentials and got to mining for some cobblestone. I don't think I'll stay in this village for too long though, but it's safe to end day number 1. Day 2 I spent out and about gathering materials like coal and some iron. I had to sleep out in the open though, which is super dangerous, but luckily on day 3 I found a second village. Now this is more like it, lots of villagers and houses to protect me. I raided the village for all it had and set up shop in the brewing castle, 2nd floor. I think this is going to be the village I'm going to try and make my base. It's got everything I need. I braved the darkness to make sure all the villagers are kept safe. These boys are going to become the cornerstone of my survival. Next day I investigated the rather large hole in the middle of town. It's going to be a good supply of cobblestone for now, but this is going to need to be made safe at some point. And all that cobblestone is going to come in real handy, as the next day I started construction of the wall. I feel a lot safer working in town with a wall around it. It took me 2 days, but the wall is now complete. The village is so big, I had to leave 3 houses outside the wall, and I tore them down for the supplies. On day 8, I started construction of something I never got to build in my original 100 days, and only managed it once before since then, and it got me killed, and that is an iron farm. It took me until the end of day 11 to get the farm built, and the 3 villagers needed into position. Now I just need a zombie to get this bad boy firing. With everything in place, I rushed up to see if it works. And it does. Sort of. I accidentally made a block of obsidian in the pit, and the golem was spawning on top of it. Needed to get rid of it. Took me well into day 12 to finish it, but it's done. And it works. Burn, golem, burn. I cannot tell you how huge this was for me to have infinite iron, not only for armor and tools, but for selling to villagers in the future. The next couple of days, I did some village maintenance, including filling over that big old hole in the middle and increasing the food farms. I feel like I'm going to need a lot of farming land. Also decided the village was just too big, so I moved a few of the walls to make the village a little bit smaller. Checked on my iron farm and it's already building up nicely. I spent some more time remodeling the village before starting the next project. And these 2 houses are villagers. And now they're in one big house. This will be my villager breeding house, where all the naughty stuff happens. With the breeder in action, it was time to start building the shopping mall. This will supply me with all I need to actually survive and get ready for the adventures ahead. Night of day 16, I had my first shop open, and of course, it was a toolsmith. And day 17, the pod was ready for when Junior grows up. So in the meantime, I decided it was time I had a house of my own. And I was going to build it around the brewing castle that I've been staying in. And by the end of day 19, it was starting to take shape, but definitely off by at least a block. By the night time of day 23, the 2nd floor construction had started, but it was still off by a block. Opened up the weaponsmith shop to make myself feel better before tearing down the house by a block. With supplies low, I started digging a mine down and came back up with a bag full of cobblestone. By the end of day 25, the house is finally symmetrical. And the next day, I finished the 2nd floor. Definitely need some more features, like windows. Next day, the boys were back at it. And with the windows installed, I'm going to say the house is pretty much finished. Not going to lie, it's probably one of my better efforts. Look at all that iron! Day 26, I was back to mining and came out in this massive cave. Oh yeah, this is where I die, for sure. Did some panic lying and came across my first diamond. Yes! I nabbed as much supplies as I was brave enough for and headed back up to the surface. Day 28, I started building some pens for the local wildlife, sheep and cows. and I added a farmer to the shops to sell off my crops. And I purchased my first diamond pickaxe. Day 29, the pig family joined the farm. I increased all the wall size for added security and checked on my ever-growing iron supplies. Ooh, carrots really get me in the mood. Despite having infinite iron, I really struggled for coal in the early days and out on day 30 scratching around for some. That night I added a sugarcane farm to the town in preparation for the 100 or so librarians I'll be adding to the shopping mall. And the next couple of days I spent time breeding the villagers. Here I've added an armourer and my first librarian to the mall. Next day I tarted up the entrance to my mine with some polished granite, and I got the armourer to master level. I now have full diamond armour. More village maintenance. The next day I added a path made from polished deep slate from exit to exit, and a new library shop was about to open. Guys, welcome the chicken family to the farm. Day 40, I am back in this huge cave at the end of my mine and still coming across more diamonds. Just one though. And another one. And another one. Do these know they can spawn in more than just one block? Oh hey look, two. I spent ages in the cave gathering supplies, but the main reason I'm down here is for obsidian. It's time I checked out the Nether. First things first though, I need to prepare for the Nether. Many adventure of mine has ended in that dark place, so I brought a new librarian into the shopping mall and rolled him till I got some fire protection books. Day 42, I added a pathway to the shopping mall, which is really starting to take shape. A lot of these middle days I spent breeding and employing new workers for the mall. Construction of the Nether portal started and was completed the next day with its own enclosure. The portal was lit. I'm going to the Nether. Not the worst spawn, but one time I would just like to spawn next to a fortress. I made the portal safe as possible with a cobblestone house before fleeing back to the overworld. I just don't feel ready. Added another librarian to the mall for some unbreaking books to add to my tools, and did some important town maintenance like adding flowers outside of my house. On day 46, I decided to add a wool farm for extra profit. I only tried these once before, but it really did work a treat. So I built a second one. I think I might need a few more though to really make them worthwhile. Next day I spent the whole day harvesting my crops and breeding the animals. It takes so long to keep the farms running, but the profits, they make it worthwhile. I spent the next day chopping down trees for wood to make sticks to sell. This shopping mall is keeping me so busy. Heading back into the Nether, still on the hunt for a fortress. Tunnel through the wall behind my portal to find I'm literally just above a fortress. This is huge. Made a nice safe staircase down into the fortress. I spent ages wandering around this fortress, not really finding anything of note, and I was just trying to go as slow as possible, as I don't really have the right protection for this. And it wasn't until well into day 52 I finally made it back to my portal and the safety of my town. There is just something about the Nether that really panics me. I calmed myself down with some storage expansion, and I also set up the stalls in my house for the brewing. I readied myself for another go in the Nether by adding another librarian to the mall, this time for protection. This is for my armor. With my brewing stand now set up, I started work on something that will take my shopping mall to the next level, and that is a villager infector. Again, I did make one before on my previous 100 days, but you never saw it due to death. With the infector built, the last piece I needed was a zombie, and as night fell, I went in search of one. Oh, there's one right there. Unfortunately, I completely forgot I had an iron golem wandering around, and he quickly destroyed my zombie. Next day, I started work on making the entrance to the infector golem proof, and that night, I brought another zombie in, and into position where he will remain for the rest of his life. Got the first villager into the infector, and he got infected, although the rail system doesn't seem to work very well. Just as I was about to start celebrating my first infection, the Iron Golem kung fu kicked my zombie villager into pieces. To top it off, my zombie despawned, or maybe it burnt up, so I quickly replaced it and got it to infecting other villagers. I spent a lot of time moving my already working villagers into the infector, gaining some massive discounts. Had a hankering for some pork chops, and they left me confident enough to head back into the Nether. Got the return to sender achievement before heading back into the fortress. I'm on the lookout for some blazers and happened to walk straight into a blaze spawn. Things were going so well until I accidentally bonked this piglin on the head, making him very mad with me. Which means I run. And I didn't stop running until I was safely home. Got back to infecting villagers and harvesting my crops. This takes ages to do. And as the day gave way to night, I noticed a zombie villager banging on the door. I took care of his mate and showed him to his new accommodation. Spent the rest of the night down in the cave. I'm still finding diamonds down here, but I'm mainly on the lookout for gold. I need to craft some more golden apples to cure infected villagers. Had the phantoms at the door tonight, which is great, as I need their meat for potions of slow falling. You know what I need them for. Installed an enchanting table upstairs in my bedroom, although I don't really plan on using it for much, as all my enchantments mainly come from books. A lot of these days are just filled with buying and selling at the shopping mall and curing more villagers. Nothing much really happened. Oh, I'm back in the Nether. Right. I'm on the hunt for magma cream so I can brew some fire potions. I feel a lot safer moving around the Nether with them. And with these magma cubes, I got some. Yay! Fire potions! This will teach you for killing my zombies! Now, I have cut a lot of these days out, as here we are on day 69. Celebrated by watching some villagers suffer in the infector. Oh, jolly good, I'm back in the Nether! Blaze rods were on the agenda today, and thankfully with my fire-resistant armor, these things can barely touch me. And when it was all said and done, I left with 17 blaze rods. Crafted myself some Eye of Enders. It's time to go find the stronghold and the end. And on day 74, I set out to do just that. And it didn't take me long to find its rough location. But annoyingly, it appears to be in the middle of the ocean. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. After a deep dive and a lot of mining, I found the magical stronghold. Now, I was in this place for a good couple of days until I finally stumbled onto the end portal. Had just about enough Eye of Enders left to light this bad boy up. There it is. The end is just the other side. But I ain't ready for that yet, so I took down the coordinates and headed back home. Now, I basically have 20 days to get myself ready to fight the Ender Dragon. You've got to bear in mind, I've only ever faced the dragon a handful of times on Bedrock and never on Hardcore. So I want to be as prepared as I can. And that means spending a lot of time curing villages, getting the right enchantments on my weapons and my armor, and brewing the potions that I'm going to need to survive. Expanded the farm today because a whole day to harvest and plant my crops is clearly too fast. Added some more pathways to the compound so people know to not walk on the grass. Increased the sugarcane farm to cater for all the librarians I've employed. And I added a nice rug to my house for decoration. The next day I built a watchtower to look over my land. And you can see just how far my compound has come. It's looking really nice. But the main reason I've built these is at some point I'm going to do a raid. And I want to give myself as much protection as possible this time. With the towers built, it's time for one last look around the compound before packing up my backpack with everything I've prepared and set off for the stronghold and my date with the dragon. And luckily, I marked the entrance to the stronghold with this long line of deep slate, and before I knew it, I was standing back in front of the end portal. Not the worst spawn. At least I don't have to bridge over the void yet, because I really can't do that. Popped on my carved pumpkin, because ain't nobody got no time for these endermen, and quickly got to work on the crystals. I went with my tried and trusted strategy of cobblestoning up the back of each one and destroying them with my bow. I even managed to take a couple out from a distance. With the crystals taken care of, I went after Mr. Dragon. And here I made my biggest mistake of all. I didn't realise my potion of slow falling had worn off. And when I went in to slash the dragon, he tossed me high into the air. Looking at the floor approaching, I had nothing. No hope. This is it. This is the end. Oh my god. Needless to say, that scared the absolute crap out of me, and I ran as fast as I could back to my hole. Thank you, Feather Falling Boots. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I managed to recover my health and composure, and after probably the longest drawn out fight in Minecraft history, I finally managed to hit the killing blow and take out the Ender Dragon. Woohoo! Yeah, just watch it die, baby. Grabbed myself the dragon egg and headed back into the portal. And the end of the game. Officially completed Minecraft on hardcore. Now I set through the entire end credits, and I think it's only fair that you have to too. Psych! Here they are in super fast forward. And as they speed by, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. And if you did enjoy it, please do hit that like and comment down below if you want to see a 200 days. Can I actually survive to day 200 this time? Guess there's only one way to find out. Peace!